Okay, welcome everybody to the Innovating Justice Forum on Rulejungling. Rulejungling is a word that we made up to refer to the notion that the phenomenon that's rulemaking is taking place outside the state to an increasing degree. Nowadays, anybody can create a little UN around a particular global problem and bring together people from business, civil society, parliamentarians, whatever, and make up a rule. And that fundamentally changes the rules of the game. Accountability has to be done in a different way. There's no hierarchy, there's more confusion, there's more conflict between rules, and that's what we're looking at.
In my day job as a senior counsel barrister, I do a lot of litigation, commercial litigation for clients. I also do a lot of constitutional litigation, and there's massive rule jungling.
Well, what you see is that politicians are confronted with the pressure both from up, if I can call it that, EU legislation, UN legislation, the G20 making all kinds of decisions which are not necessarily rules-based, but they definitely influence policy. And there's also a downward pull with local communities deciding to do things their own way, with mayors implementing Kyoto even when their country doesn't, with cities becoming shelter cities even though there's not a national asylum consensus. So you're caught as a politician in between.
As a business, we're caught in between. And very often, obviously, the rules are important for us, but we then need to know which rules do we follow, what are the rules? And also, like everyone else, we also say we'd like the rules enforced too, so that we have a level playing field for everyone.
One of the obvious things is that the old ways no longer work, and the traditional idea that if you make rules through parliaments in states alone, that that's your main base for making rules, that isn't going to swing it. So you need to think of different ways to do it. We have a great group together, and I'm sure things will come up because they're all from very different walks of life, and that's where the richness will come.
The way that things have changed is that, put aside academics, people that are using the technology suddenly are directly impacted by international trade agreements. Those agreements being negotiated by a number of countries with limited advice coming from usually one or very few interested parties or industries. So suddenly, right, the change becomes massive.
My role is changing already. Every citizen in Egypt, even judges' role are changing. Not only because of the rule jungling, because the Arab Spring. So we are talking about the two concepts together, the rule jungling and the Arab Spring at the same time. They are forcing us to look for also new rules.
My role will change because I'll have to advocate more for incorporation of views, meaningful participation, and ensuring that the rules that are being put and laws that are being put into place are rules that people can relate to.
Idea, but then you first ask the right questions, and then you can...
The general feeling of this table, rule jungling is not a problem as long as the parties affected by those rules are familiar with the rules.
We've moved the ball forward in the area of rule jungling, and we put it on the agenda. We've had some really great ideas about how to improve parliaments, how to build warning lights about things that do or do not need regulation, how to get global leaders to focus on the right issues that need to be regulated. And on a number of these innovations that are out there, we hope to see them next year at the Innovating Justice Reward and see whether they've moved forward.